Hello, this is Stephen Hilton, and I am the head of solutions here at Space and Time. And today we're going to talk about getting started with the SWE hackathon. And so, as part of the hackathon, you should have access to this page already. And there's a lot of good information in here. And if you're going to develop on Space and Time, I'd recommend you kind of read through it all. But I'm going to pick on a few different areas to focus in on, and specifically getting started with Space and Time. And so this is really listed out in 3 easy steps. We're going to create a trial user. We're going to go ask for a join code, which will allow us to join the subscription so that you don't have to pay for Space and Time while you're doing your work on the hackathon. And then just using that join code to actually join the subscription. So first, create a new Space and Time trial user. And you can see here it links off to the right location. It actually links to a docs page that'll take you to this location. This is our DApp. And once we're here, we're going to go in the upper right-hand corner and we're going to hit sign in and we're going to hit register because we want to register a new user. And you'll see a few different payment options. We're actually going to go down to the bottom here and register as a trial user. And that's going to give us a very familiar username, password, confirm password paradigm. So test Steve, let's call it SWE234. We'll plug in a password. There we go. So now we have a user for Space and Time. And I can click here, and you notice you can also connect a wallet. So that way you can just use your wallet to log in going forward. I'm going to leave that off now because I don't really want to connect a wallet with this particular test user. But feel free to plug in your email address, et cetera, et cetera. This is where the join code goes. And so right now, I'm just a trial user. As a trial user, I can do pretty much everything a normal user can. So I can go here and I can look at the SWE data set and I can see what tables there are and how they relate to each other and the column names, the types. But eventually, I'm going to get paywalled. So for example, I can run a query here. Let's run this. And I can run, I think, around 40 or 50 queries. Eventually, I'm going to hit a limit as to, how many I can run. It's going to tell me to go sign up for a subscription. All right. So you can see SWE as of yesterday has, 86, call it 87,000 checkpoints. Very busy time. All right. And by the way, you also can do things like show me the number of SWE checkpoints between, say, 6 a.m. and noon, 12 noon yesterday. And you'll see it'll go off to OpenAI. We've trained OpenAI on our model and what columns mean what and what tables mean what in the business language and everything. So it's a good way to get started quickly. So you can see it wrote the right query and it puts the prompt up on top just for context as to what you started with. Now again, I haven't associated this account with the subscription, so let's do that. I'll go back to our instructions here. And step 2, send an email to solutions@spaceandtime.io. And if you would, put in the subject, SWE Overflow Hackathon. That's just so that we can easily identify it as it comes in. In the body, if you would, tell us a little bit about your project. Not required, but it's kind of fun to see what everyone's working on. We will get that request. We will generate a join code for you, and then we will send it back to you. Once you get that back, here's how you go and use that join code. You go back up to my accounts here, right here, join code, paste, and then submit. And then if everything works correctly, you'll see that you've joined this subscription. This is the subscription ID for the SWE hackathon specifically. And the billing, like you don't have to worry about any of the billing. That's all taken care of for you. I will say that join code that I used The join codes are consumed. So once I hit submit, it's burned. So you don't share it. It doesn't do any good to share it. Once you use it, it's done. Also, the join codes will expire after 24 hours, and that's for security purposes. So if you ask us on say a Thursday for a join code and we send it to you either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, we'll send it to you, like we'll generate it and immediately send it to you. So you have basically 24 hours from when you get that email. But if you don't pick it up until Monday morning, it's going to have expired. And that's fine. You can just reach out to us again, say, hey, it expired. Can I get another one? And we'll send it to you. Okay. So at this point, you notice it doesn't say trial here anymore because I'm a full-fledged member. All right. So let's use this account to go log into Space and Time a few different ways. And there's a few different ways you can log in because Space-Time is a decentralized data warehouse, and so there's a way to log into the decentralized network directly. However, that's a little more complicated. We also have a secrets proxy, or what we call a gateway, and you can log into the gateway in a number of different ways that are a lot more simplified. And so depending on your use case, you might want to go one direction or the other. So when I'm logging in here with my username and password, I'm actually logging into the secrets proxy. We can go log into the secrets proxy. If we go to our documentation, I'm going to go to our API references, and you'll see here this gateway secrets proxy. I'm going to go to login right here, and I'm just going to log in with my username and password again. Test Steve Sweet 234, I think it was, and my password. And you can actually run these APIs right on our docs. So you'll notice that I did in fact get that right. And so it returned to me an access token. This access token is the decentralized network access token. This is my session. With this, I can copy it. I can go to any of these APIs on the decentralized network. Let's say we'll just go get schema. I'm going to replace that token. And then we'll say, give me all public schemas. Yeah, just give me all public schemas. That's fine. And you'll notice that works, right? And so that's a good way. All of the different ways to log in all end in the same access token so that you can use that everywhere. All right, let's log in a different way. I'm still here on my account in the upper right-hand corner, up here. I can also go to permissions and keys. And on top here, you'll see create API key. Let's create one for the SWE hackathon key add. And so this generated a very traditional API key. And I'm going to copy that just like any other API key. Once you navigate away from it, you don't see this ever again. This will never be repeated. So make sure you copy it, save it somewhere safe. Then you can, if you say show API keys, you'll see the beginning of it, but you can never get back to that. Fortunately, I have it on my clipboard. So I'm going to go back here and gateway authenticate, same place we just did the login here. Let's go down to the bottom, API key login. We'll paste this right here, and then we'll log in again. And again, you'll see it ends in an access token. So just to prove the point, I'm going to copy all of that. We'll go back to our discovery and let's go look at the tables. Replace this. Let's look at all public tables in the SWE schema. And there they are. So there's our checkpoints table we were looking at earlier, and you can see the different characteristics of that table. So that's the second way you can log in. The third and last way is actually going against the decentralized network directly. So far, those last two methods, we went to the secrets proxy. If we want to log into the decentralized network, it's a little more complicated, and really it's designed for programmatic access. But I'm going to go over here to the REST API and say getting started with the access token, decentralized network. And you can read all up about this. The thing I like about this is it shows you the authentication flow between the client and the server, or the client and the network. And it's a pretty classic challenge response, right? So you ask for a challenge token, the network gives it to you. You have 30 seconds to sign that with your valid private key, return it, and then it will give you back the access token. And again, that's good for 25 minutes. Um, yeah, and then from there, when you're done with that, or maybe you need it for longer than 25 minutes, there is also a refresh token. So you can take the refresh token and hand it to this API, and it will give you back a new access token, which is valid for another 25 minutes. And so you can keep doing this, get a new access token and a new refresh token. When the access token expires, the refresh token can be handed in to get a new access token. And you can repeat that for up to 24 hours. After 24 hours, it forces you to re-authenticate. To do this is, like I said, because the security model of it expiring in 30 seconds is a little hard as a human to get the challenge token and then sign the token and then hand it back and then get the access. Uh, I would recommend just doing this all in the CLI. So if we go to the CLI page here, I'm not going to read through all of this except to say uh, it's a Java jar file basically, and so you have to make sure you have the version of Java. You go download the actual CLI jar file. You have to put it in your path, and so there's instructions on how to do that. Mac OS, Linux, Windows is down here. And so once you've gone through all of those steps, you should be able to log into the decentralized network on a terminal or a command window. So that would look something like SXT CLI, and then you can do things like authenticate, work with biscuits. You can actually do discovery, like we were just looking at the different tables in SWE. You can run SQL, et cetera, et cetera. One thing I like to do, and this is just me, when I'm in here putting this alias in my path file, because I'm on Mac, I actually go put this little function in there as well. And what this lets me do is say SXT login, and I have an environment variable. I have an .env file that has all of my secrets, so I don't have to type it in. I just say SXT login, and this is my access token. So I can take this, and again, I can go back to our documentation here. And just to do something different, let's go run some SQL here. Replace this, and I'm just going to paste in the same query we ran before. We'll give that a run. And there it is. There's our same 86,000 checkpoints for yesterday. So that's the third way you can use it. And like I said, usually when you're using that, you're doing it programmatically. We have SDKs that make that very easy. So I'll go back to our documentation and we'll search for SDK. And there they are. I'm not going to get into this too much, but we have different Golang, Node.js, Python is actually in HIP. So you can go through and read the documentation on that. So that's how you kind of get started authenticating, running queries. Like I think from there, like most people kind of get it. There are different SQL APIs. The execute SQL, that's just a generic kind of endpoint. It's just going to go execute any kind of arbitrary SQL you give it. If you want to get specific, you can do things like DDLs or DMLs or DQLs. You can build materialized views, you can refresh materialized views, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot here. There's a lot you can do in space and time, but getting started, getting that access token is kind of the first step in all of this. So with that, I will wrap up by saying that if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, solutions@spaceandtime.io. It's a good place to start, or we are going to be monitoring the Discord for the hackathon. So just tag us, Steve at spaceandtime.io. There's also a gentleman by the name of Chillerai. we will have in our header or our handle will be, you'll see space and time, so it'll be pretty obvious who we are. So that's it. Like I said, you can read through the rest of this. We have sample queries. We have other, commonly used tables. We have some notes on making sure performance is good. This timestamp column is common across all the different tables in space and time, and that is almost without fail the partition key. So if you want to partition, if you want to query and limit the number of partitions, that will dramatically increase your performance from most tables. But there's other characteristics that you can use. There's materialized views, and that's pretty much it. With that, we're excited to be involved with the hackathon. We're looking forward to what everyone is crafting out there. Happy building and good luck.